Okay, I'm opening and installing or setting up the Tova 58-inch sliding barn door entertainment center. That's what it'll look like after I'm done. I'm going to unbox it, kind of show you what you should have in here. I took off the first thing, then I've got my assembly instructions. Haven't even opened this yet. So it kind of goes through what we're going to need. Some basic stuff. This is the color we went with. I'll get out the rest of the hardware and kind of show you what's going on. So the hardware you're supposed to have is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, Q, there's P back here, S, T, and U is the glue. So that's the hardware you're supposed to have. Let me get out the parts, pieces, the legs and things, and see what we're supposed to have there. Okay, so I have my parts laid out. You should have 1 through 22. I have them listed in order in different piles so that I can just reach back and grab them as needed. When looking at the instructions, the first thing I saw was that you need a Phillips head screwdriver, and that's all that it says. You're also going to need some hexes as well in order to get this done. Some of the bolts here are hex bolts, so if you don't have that and all you have is a Phillips screwdriver, you're going to end up stripping them out. So the first thing we need to do is step 1, put in all the H's on number 1. So I have number 1 here, and I'm going to get my H's and put them in. As you can see, they don't go in all the holes, so make sure you line up the proper holes. Over here you have 2 holes, so put it in this one and this outside one. So as well, I noticed that some of the Phillips heads are big and some are pretty teeny, so I got 2 different sizes, that way I don't strip the heads out. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install all the H's and then I'll turn it back on. Okay, I put the first 2 in. What you're going to notice is there's some threads. It's got kind of a thicker part, so screw it down until you hit this thick part. Don't over tighten it or else you'll start cracking the wood. Okay, so I have all those in. There should be 11, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The next thing we're going to do is step 2, we're going to insert wooden dowel, part A, into part 15, and then attach part 15 to 16 using the B bolt with screwdriver. So let me get that. So it says to put these dowels in these back pieces. On there it shows a little line on there. So I'm doing that the same way. Here's my line. I'm putting it on the back. I'd say put them in about halfway. So we got 1, and it looks like you go a hole and skip a hole. Then go a hole, skip a hole, and then put one on the end. Like I said, you don't have to push them in all the way. I'm not going to, at least. And then I'm going to attach B to 16. Okay, so I put the first one in. You can see this little lip is underneath it. It's got some holes the black piece does you can line up. I put my first one in, and I put my last one in. Not all the way, tighten down just a little bit so that it would hold it. And then you can take and you can screw these in as needed. I'd hand tighten them first, and then you can come back with your screwdriver and get them taken care of. Okay, so I've got all my bolts tightened down. So now 15 is attached to 16 using B. If you look over here, this is sticking out just a little bit out of the end. I'm presuming that when you put whatever piece goes right here, it'll suck up against this piece and sit right on top of that. So now I'm going to go to step 3, and it says to put 6 of A, your wooden dowels, into 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 2 on bottom, 2 on side, and 2 on top. You can see here that it's showing that there's a hole, and then that's where you put the dowel. Same with over here, a hole and then a dowel all the way around. So I'm going to do that next phase. So I've got my 3 up here. So you have your first hole, go to the next one, push it in, and then go to the middle hole. And I'm going to do that all the way around to 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay guys, so I got 3, 4, 5, and 6. I got the dowels in all of the pieces. All of them, I'm going to set them aside, make a little stack, and then I'll get to the next step. Okay, on to step 4. So it's 9, 7, 10, 8 is the order you want to line them up in. So that's how I lined mine up. 9, 7, 10, 8. And then you're going to put 2 dowels on the left side of 9 and 8, and then 2 H's on the side of 7 and 10, and then you want to put H's on the outside of all of them, and then we'll go to that step. Okay, so I've got them set up. 9 has its dowel and then H is on it. 7 has H and then H on the side. 10 has H's on top and then H on the side, and then 8 has H's on top and down the side. So I'm going to screw these down now. Okay, so those are all down. Now we're going to go on to the next step. On to the next step, we're going to get C, which are little screws, P, which is your Allen wrench, and Q, which is a little L bracket. It looks kind of like this. Okay, so you're going to take Q, and there's a little side piece like that. You're just going to drop it down in the hole just like that. And then you're going to take C, so line these holes up. You're going to take C, drop it down in there, and then get P, your Allen wrench, and then you're going to tighten it down just like that. You're going to do that there and there. This is on number 17. Also part of step 5 is to get your pieces 18 and 19, and then your remaining 4 Qs, and you're going to put them on just the exact same way that you just did on to 17. So put it down, then you're going to come down to the bottom of it, and you're going to put them on the sides, just like that, just like that. You're going to get 4 C's, drop them down in these holes, and screw them down. Remember not to over tighten. Okay, so step 5 is complete. I've got these all on and bolted down. Now step 6 is to attach 17 to 18 and 19 using your C screws and your Q brackets. So I'm going to set 17 up so it's upright, making sure that your brackets are on the bottom. Then 18 goes on the left and 19 goes on the right. So you're going to just put these right in there, and then you're going to take C and put it down right there. So you're going to do C there, and then you're going to do 19 the same. Okay, so I'm putting my C bracket down. This is 18. Tightening it up. Just finishing. A couple more turns, like I said. Turn it tight, but not over tight. So there's that one. Now we're going to go do 19. The same on this side. You're doing this. You can see here that this bracket is on the inside. That's why 19 is here. So here's 18. You can see the bracket is on the inside and facing down. Okay, so I'm just finishing up 19 here. With a couple more turns. There we go. So when you put it down, it should kind of look like the top of a bed frame. That's how it should look when 17, 18, and 19 are connected. For step 7, we're going to attach part 2 to part 20, so the top with the little legs. Make sure that your railing, your runners, are facing down. The other side doesn't have any grooves, but this side does. So you're going to want to put 20. It shows it on this hole, so you have outside holes and inside holes, you're going to want to take and put it like this. So I'm going to flip it over and then line it up that way rather than try and do it this way. I think it'll be a little bit easier. Attaching this with part J, which is the same as P if you remember, using your Allen. So what I actually did, I found this center hole that I needed to, and I'm pushing it all the way through, and then I'll take and I'll put 20 on it. Just like that. I would hand tighten it. Once you get it there, then you can take and get your hex and do the other side. Let's see. Take a little bit of pressure. And there we go. Alright, so I got those on, both legs. I found it was easier to twist this than the Allen wrench. And then make sure that it's squared up. That this isn't crooked one way or the other. I'm sure that'll take effect later, and that's how it shows it in step 7, so that's what it looks like for now. Step 8, we're going to attach 7 to 3, 8 to 4, 9 to 5, 10 to 6. So what you're going to want to do is, you can see 3, how it has this line on the side of it. You're taking, so I got my 3 here. Here's my line on the outside, away from 7. You're going to take 7 here, and you're going to attach. Okay, so what you're going to do, I look at it for a second. See this line here, and that piece right there, you're going to want to be facing the same direction as that line. So when you put this piece on, this line is facing, it's on my right, facing towards me. So I'm going to want that screw facing towards me as well. So you're going to put these right in there, and you can see that screw is facing towards me, just like those lines would be. Then you're going to take your G piece, and all you do, there's got a little slot right there. You make it so that that slot goes down over the screw, and then all you do is tighten it up. So get it in there and tighten it, and it sucks that piece in. Tighten it fairly good, and you're going to come up with the same thing. So this piece right here, you can see how it's facing. Face it towards the screw, towards the wall. I'll push that in just a little bit. All you have to do is drop it in, and then you turn it to the right, and it tightens that piece up. So that's 3. 4 is going to be kind of similar. If you look on here, this diagram, there's 2 holes up on top and 6 here. So you have 6 here and 2 holes on top. If you flip it over, there's no holes on the top or the bottom. So you want the top facing up towards you. And then you can see also on 8, there's 2 pieces that are both on the bottom side with the dowel sticking up. So I got my holes on the bottom, my dowel on the top. So you're going to take, and you're going to do very similar to what you just did with her. So you just take and you insert these till they line up. I lined it up. It's going to be a little bit shorter here on top. You're going to get your H's or your G's and tighten them down. Drop it in. Push that up. Drop it in. And then you just tighten them up. We're on to 5 and 9. It's very similar to what we just did. Put the top holes up like that again. And then you're going to make sure your dowel is pointing up. And then you take and you just attach them right on like we did before. Push that one on. And you put your G's in again. Just like before. I'm going to skip this step. Next is 9 to 10. Same deal. You're going to want this piece facing up with the holes facing towards you. You're going to want your H to face towards you when you're done. So you just take, line it up, and then you push it right in. The next step is you're going to get your big screws, and what you're going to do is you're going to line these dowels up with their corresponding holes all the way across. And then you're going to take and you're going to put a screw in the top so that it goes into this hole right here. on all of them. So I'm going to get it set up and then I'll tighten it down for you. So I got my dowels lined up on this side, pushing it there. You're going to come over here and you're going to line these dowels up, and then you're going to give it a little bit of a push to get them all on. Doing this side was tight, this side was tight, this side's kind of loose, and this side's kind of loose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten all the screws down just a little bit to get them sucked in, and I'm going to get the dowels fixed. Sorry about that hammering. I had a 6-year-old that was helping. Anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to tighten these down just a little bit. I went and got a drill, but I made it so that the torque, so that it would start clicking before I stripped anything out. So you're going to want to tighten each one up. I'm going to tighten them all the way across. It's kind of like a tire. Don't tighten them all down all at once. So don't just tighten these two down, then these two down, then these two down. I'm going to go back and forth and tighten them down. I'm starting at one end and going to the other end, kind of jumping around, and then tighten them down a little bit tougher. Now that I've done that, you can see it's flush down the sides, all the way down. So I'm going to go on to the next. Next, you're going to attach parts 17, 18, and 19, like how the book shows it. So you're going to have your screws up here, where they're going to go into. So you're going to have your, I believe, Q parts are going to go on there. So you take these pieces, you can see this little piece sticking out, and you're going to line it up with that hole that it's supposed to go into, all the way across the board. Line it up, come over here, line it up, and line it up down here as well. Once you have those, you're going to take your little C bolts and then tighten them on there like you've been tightening them on all the other ones. Okay, so I'm going along, I'm putting these in here, here, and here. I'm not tightening them down all the way in case I need to bend this piece a little bit or wiggle it, that I can be able to do that. So you can see it's got a little bit of slop in it still. I'll tighten that down after I've gotten them all put in. Okay, once you've got those all hooked up, it says the next step here is to stand it up, and you're going to put the back panel into the groove. So you're going to go 13s on the side, 14 in the center. That diagram, it shows this part, the slot going on top. I'm not sure if it makes a whole lot of difference. You can try it on your own. I'm going to follow the instructions and put the slot on top. So there's little slits right here that you take and you put them into. Got mine in the slots, and you kind of just shimmy it down until it's the bottom. I guess you could probably put them like this and then put your top on, and if you don't like how it fits, just don't glue anything together, and then you can take your top back off and put these back the other way around. Like I said, however you want to do it, I think it's going to be fine, but I'm going to follow the instructions on mine. Okay, so I've got my 3 backs in. The next step is to take and put your top on, which I'm going to do here in a sec. So we're following all the instructions. You can see, so on my right there's this groove, on the other side there isn't a groove. I believe that this groove is meant to go so that it sits on top of this board. This sticks just a little bit higher, that way it doesn't slide off. Make sure your bolts all line up with their appropriate holes, wherever they may be. So I'm going to put that on, and you're going to want to also make sure that this board goes into this groove, and then we'll go to that stage. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. It's not too heavy, not too tough. I had to just kind of bend just a teeny bit. Some of the screws, not bend, just kind of push over just a teeny bit so they can slide down to the hole a little bit better. I started one side and went to the other side. What you're going to do next is up in here, I don't know if you can see, there's a hole right there. You're going to get those little screws in. You're going to get these screws and put them up in there, all across the board, on this side, and then tighten them down, and it'll suck this piece down, I do believe. So we'll put that on next. I'll put those little screws in. Okay, so that letter is G, these little things, again. Put them up in there, so I'm going to go ahead and do all those. Now I have my top on. I'm on step 14. This is attach the plastic wedge using a screwdriver. I don't really see the point in that. I don't know what these little pieces are accomplishing on the back. I tried to figure it out. I'm just going to leave them off. You can do whatever you want. There's no point to it to me to do it. So then you're on to step 16. So you can take your patches and cover up your all your holes and all your bolts if you want. I'm not going to worry about that either. Not too big of a hurry. It doesn't bug me at all. So what you can do is take and insert all of your D's that are little teeny things. I'll grab them real quick. So I've got my D's here. Just take and put them at the desired. There's 3 spots you can put them. You just put them in the desired spot. Push them in. It's like most cabinets, making sure that you have them in the same spot, or else you'll have a lopsided cabinet or lopsided shelf, I guess. So take and put those in. You're gonna put them in this container, and your far container. Next, you're gonna grab an 11 if you want. You just put it in at an angle, and then slide it down on top, and then there you go. You have your shelf. So you can do that with your 11s and also your 12. Put them in. I'm gonna do that fast. All right, so I have my shelves in. Now we're gonna go on to the next step. We just did 16 with the little brackets, 17 with the shelves. Now we're gonna go on to 18. We're gonna go ahead and get the doors assembled. So the next thing you're gonna do is, here I have my doors. I put these screws facing each other, kind of like what's in the diagram. Then you're gonna take and put your N underneath, and your M's gonna go on top. So look at that. My N's underneath. All you do is take this, and you just slide it right under until you feel it hit the groove, and then you're good to go. And then you're going to take and you're going to put your M's right into there and tighten them down. Okay, you can see that I have them in there now. I'm just going to take my screwdriver and tighten them all up. These little brackets on, and then screw them down. So I've already got them lined up. All you do is just take and put them into these little holes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real fast. What you're going to do is attach your handles. So all you do is put these on just like that, and on the back side you've got your screws, and they're T and S that you do that with. So there you can see how that goes, and then the other one just goes on the exact same way. So the final thing you have to do is you put these in the groove first, and then you take and you just lift these hooks up and over, and then you have your sliding door.